All right, today we're going to be doing 2.3 rotations. Um, this is another topic very important in transformations. We'll talk about three specific rotations today: the 90-degree rotation, the 180-degree rotation, and the 270-degree rotation. All of these rotations are going to be a counterclockwise. Okay, so the opposite way that a clock moves. That's what you should think about when you think about counterclockwise. So everything's moving opposite of how a clock usually moves. All right, so I'm going to give you some of the rules here that you're going to write in your foldable in the front, and then we'll do some examples that are found inside of the foldable. Let's start with 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. Today, I'll be using my rule to get my new point, okay? Just like reflections had rules, so do rotations, okay? So for a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation, the original XY, I'm going to write old for original. You can write original if you want to, but I'm writing old. So XY, that represents the original point, the old point. I'm trying to get this new point when there's a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. What are we doing to this original point? Well, you're going to switch X and Y, and the original Y is going to have that change of sign. So if we switch X and Y, this is how my rule is going to look. Negative Y, X. All right, so remember that negative, if you see a negative, it means that it's a change of sign. Change of sign. So if it was positive, now you're changing it to negative. If it was negative, now you're changing it to opposite. 180-degree counterclockwise rotation. So for this rotation, this actually is going to be the one that a lot of kids are going to favor because it's a little bit more simpler than the others. So what do I have to do to get a 180 counterclockwise rotation? Using your original points, so your old points, okay? I need to get my new points. Oh, and I forgot to put new over here at the top. You can write that in there if you want to. So I'm trying to get my new point. How do I get my new point? All I'm going to do is change the signs of your original X and your original Y. So you don't swap positions. X and Y stay in the same position, but you are changing the sign. That's all. If it was negative, you're doing it positive now. And if it was positive, you're changing it to negative. That's all you're doing, not swapping positions. So it tends to be a little bit easier to understand for a lot of kids. So they'll favor having a 180-degree counterclockwise rotation. All right. What about this last rotation? 270-degree counterclockwise rotation. X, Y. So I have my old point. And I'm trying to figure out what my new point is going to be. I'm going to use the rule, very similar to the 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. I'm going to have a swap of position, but the original X is the one that will have that change of sign. Okay, so how is it going to look? Y is going to go first and then negative X. Okay, so it looks very similar to 90-degree rotation, but look at it carefully. The negative is in another place for each one. So just be careful with that. They look very similar, the rules, but they are not. We're going to practice these rules inside of your foldable. Ok, hoy vamos a hacer rotaciones. Vamos a usar reglas, 3 diferentes reglas, porque van a haber 3 rotaciones que vamos a aprender. Igual que reflexión, que usábamos reglas, lo que decía la regla, lo aplicábamos al punto, es lo que vamos a hacer aquí, ¿ok? La primer rotación que hablé es la rotación de 90 grados y siempre se van a girar estas rotaciones al opuesto de cómo gira un reloj, ¿ok? So, del otro lado, so, del lado así, opuesto de cómo se mueve un reloj. Ok, so, acuérdense, un reloj se mueve hacia abajo y hacia arriba, así, ¿verdad? No, nosotros vamos a hacerlo como lo dibujé de primero, ¿ok? Opuesto como se mueve un reloj. Ok, y eso se llama counterclockwise, ¿ok? So, el giro de 90 grados, ¿qué es lo que va a pasar? Mi regla está ahí, tengo el punto original y basado del punto original es como estoy aplicando a la regla. So, yo lo que tengo que hacer es cambiar de posición X, Y. So, del punto original voy a cambiar la posición de X, y el Y que era el original va a tener ese cambio de signo, ¿ok? Porque el negativo está donde está Y. Acuérdense, ese negativo quiere decir cámbiale el signo. Ok, eso es la primera rotación. La rotación de 180 grados, esa va a ser la favorita de muchos porque no tienes que hacer ese cambio de posición. Lo único que tienes que hacer para la regla es cambiar los signos. X y Y se quedan igual en la misma posición, pero cambias de signo para las dos partes, para X y para Y. Ok, y la última rotación que dice mi regla, voy a hacer el cambio de posición, pero esta vez X va a ser el que tiene ese cambio de signo. Ok, so el X que estaba originalmente en el punto va a tener ese cambio de signo en el nuevo punto. All right, let's do some examples inside so that we can draw our graph at the end. Let's start with the 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. My rule says negative y, comma x. All right, so remember, this is your old and this is your new point. Let's look at the example. Example 1. Rotate the figure 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. List the coordinates of the vertices of the new image. Okay, so I know it's a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. That's what it tells me in the example. So I know I have to use that rule that's right next to it. Okay, so I'm just going to write the rule where it says image, negative y, comma x, so I can remember what to do. All right, so I have my pre-image points. So these are my old points. These are my new points. All right, I have A, B, C, and D that I need to do and apply that rule. So let's start with A. A says 2, comma 1. So remember, 2 is my original x and 1 is my original y. I need to get my new A prime. Okay, so I'm going to swap the position, and I need to keep in mind that the original y is going to have that change of sign. So 1 is going to go first, but it's also the original y, and I need to change that sign. So it was a positive 1, now it's going to be a negative 1, comma 2. All right, so look how they swap positions, that 2 and that 1. In the original y, which was 1 for this point, has that change of sign. It was positive, I changed it to a negative 1. Ok, so aquí vamos a hacer una rotación de 90 grados, es lo que nos dice el ejemplo. Tenemos la tabla aquí, tenemos punto A, B, C y D, que tenemos que aplicar la regla para esta rotación. So, para cada punto voy a aplicar la regla. Empecé con el punto A, que es el punto original. 2 representa el X, el 1 representa el Y. En el punto A prime es mi nuevo punto. Okay, acuérdense que los primes, esas apóstrofes que ven ahí, la que estoy ahí circulando, eso quiere decir prime. Okay, so A prime, que quiere decir punto nuevo. Yo lo que hice es cambiar de posición ese 2 y 1. So ahora el 1 va primero y el 2 va segundo en el punto, ¿ok? Pero Y era 1, ¿verdad? En el punto original, el número 1 representaba el Y, ¿ok? Y para el Y, en esta regla, se tiene que cambiar el signo. So, si 1 era el Y original, tengo que cambiarle el signo. El signo era positivo, ahora lo voy a convertir en negativo. Y fue lo que hice. Empecé con negativo 1, 2. ¿Ok? So voy a hacer lo mismo para esta siguiente parte. I'm going to do the same thing for B. I'm going to do the same thing for B that I did for A. So I'll write B prime, my new point. I'll leave a space in there to write down my X and my Y. So for the new point, my original point has to have that swap of position. So 5 is the original Y and it should go first in my point. But I'm also going to change the sign. So it was a positive 5. Now it's a negative 5. And then 3 goes second. I don't do anything to my X. Okay, I just put it in the other position. All right, what about C? 5, 5. I need my C prime. Let's leave a space there for X and Y. All right, so this time it's a little more weird just because I'm using the same number for X and Y, but you're still doing the same thing, essentially swapping it. And the original Y is going to have that change of sign. So this is how it should look. Negative 5, 5. All right, let's do D prime. 2 should go first, and I'm going to change the sign of 2, which is negative 2. 6 is going to go second, but I don't do anything to 6. I just leave it like that. So let's graph it. So I put the original points there already for you. Let's do A prime. Okay, so remember, when you're plotting a point, you're looking for the first number that you see in your point first. So negative 1, I'm looking for that in my x-axis. Okay, so where is negative 1? Right there. This is negative 1. That 2 in my point tells me to go up 2. So 1, 2. This is the location of that point. Okay, so let me just bold it out a little bit more. And let me use another color. I don't want to use black. I want it to be a little bit easier to find. So negative 1, 2, right here. This is A prime. So I'm just going to write A prime right there. Negative 5, 3. Negative 5. Go up 3. And we have B prime. C prime, negative 5. And then I'm going to go up 5. Okay, and then D prime. Negative 2, 6. All right. I'm going to connect my points. And this is what a counterclockwise 90-degree rotation looks like. Ok. Lo único que voy a resaltar aquí es que cuando ya hice mis puntos o determiné los nuevos puntos, los grafiqué, quiero que se acuerden que siempre buscan su x-axis primero, ¿ok? Es como comienzan con el axis X y luego ven como si suben o bajan basado de lo que diga el punto, ¿ok? A este punto, a esta semana de la escuela, ya deberían, espero, poder graficar un punto adecuadamente. Y si todavía no pueden graficarlo correctamente, vayan a tutoría, por favor. All right, this is example 1, a 90-degree rotation. Let's look at example 2, but on the side, I have an 180-degree counterclockwise rule that I need to write. So for the 180 rule, it's negative x, negative y. All right, so I'm going to rotate the figure 180 degrees counterclockwise. about the origin. List the coordinates of the vertices of the new image. All right, let's look at our table here. So, old points, these are my new points. Underneath the word image, I'm going to write negative x, comma, negative y, so it can help me once I'm doing and applying my rule. Okay, so I need my a prime for this one. All right, all I need to do is change the signs of x and y. So 2 stays there, but I'll change it. I'll change the sign, which is a negative, negative 2. It's a positive one, so I change it to a negative 1. Easy as pie, just change the signs. So b prime. I see a 3 there. I'm going to leave it there, but I'm going to change the sign. So instead of writing 3, I'll write negative 3. That 5 is negative 5 now. Change the signs only. C prime. 5 goes first, but it should be negative 5. And then negative 5. D prime. 6 and 2 stay in the same position. Let's just change the sign. Negative 6, negative 2. These are my answers. Let's graph them in here. Negative 2, negative 1. A prime. Negative 3, negative 5. B prime. Negative 5, negative 5. C prime. Negative 6, negative 2. D prime. Let's connect them. And this is what a rotation of 180 degrees look like. All right. Algo rápido que les voy a recordar es que para la regla del 180 grados es solo cambio de signos para cada parte del punto. So, no hay cambio de posición, solamente el cambio de signo. Como pueden ver, cambié. Si yo veía un positivo, lo cambiaba a negativo para escribir mi nuevo punto. Después ya lo grafiqué. Y pueden ver que como que se volteó la figura. Let's do the last rotation, 270-degree counterclockwise rotation. This looks like it's y, negative x. I'm just writing the rule right there so you can have it easier to find. In this example, I'm doing a 270 counterclockwise rotation. So the same rule that I'm seeing here to the left, I'll apply it. I need to list the coordinates of the vertices of the new image. Okay, so again, they give us a little table. I'm going to write right underneath image y, comma, negative x. So we have old points. We have new points. Okay, let's do a prime. So remember, 2 represents x, 1 represents y. So y, which is 1, is going to go first now. And that 2 that represents x is going to go in the second position, but it's going to have that change of sign. So it's not going to be 2, it's going to be negative 2. Okay, b prime. 5 is going to go first now, and 3 is going to be a negative 3. Change the sign of the x. Okay, c prime. 5 goes here, and then negative 5 goes second. D prime. 2 goes first, 6 goes second, but it's a negative 6. All right, one last thing to do. Let's graph this in our coordinate grid. A prime is going to be 1, negative 2. So let's find 1. Let's go down to A prime. B prime, 5, -3, 5, -5, and 6, 2. Sorry, 2, -6. I looked at the wrong point. Let's connect them all. And we have our 270 counterclockwise rotation. You have homework online. Go ahead and get started. Good luck.